Hi, and welcome to Calculus Examples. I'm Dr. Finch. Today we're going to look at integrate this little monster right here. You'll notice it is a cute little thing. We put the dx on top in this particular write-up. A lot of times we see it on the backside of our integral, but sometimes we just shove it up there. So the first thing that we're going to do is realize that when we look at this, we've got two parts going on, and we've got this part in our denominator that looks a little bit funky to work with and a little bit complicated. So we're going to work with a u-substitution. When you're doing a u-substitution, you want to look at the ugliest thing that you can take the derivative of without too much fuss and make that into your u value. Now, the key here is we're just going to do the inside of the parentheses there because you'll notice on the top we have a singular x. So we know that whatever derivative we end up with, we need a single x. We can't deal with any x squareds. All right, if we take a derivative on both sides, we are going to get 2 times, take our power down, and the derivative of a number is, or a constant is just 0, and then we're going to have a dx there. So I'll rewrite that again. That's du is equal to 4x dx. Whoops. And you'll notice up top, we have that dx, x dx right here. And so we see that right there. However, the 4 is not in there. So we're going to divide out both sides by 4 so that our substitution goes very smoothly. And this is the thing that we're going to substitute for x dx is the 1/4 du. All right, so pop that in, and we are going to have the integral on our top of our fraction. Well, actually, I'm going to put that off on the side. We're going to get a 1/4 du. So slap that on. And our denominator is going to be 1 over u squared. So you'll notice that squared is still there. Let's rewrite this a little bit so it's easier to work with before we actually integrate. So the first thing that I would do is we have a constant here. Let's yank that out and put it out front. We can integrate a little bit easier without it mucking up the gears. The second thing that we're going to do is we are going to take that 1 over u squared and rewrite it as u to the -2, because having our power written like that makes it a little bit easier to integrate. All right, so we have 1/4, and notice when we took our derivative, our power went down, and then we multiplied and said we are going to add 1 to our power. And we are going to divide by our new power. So divided by -1. And we aren't quite done. This is an indefinite integral. So you'll see there are no bounds on our integral here, which means we always have to put that plus c at the end of our solution because this is a family of solutions, not a singular solution. That negative sign, I'm going to throw it out front, 1 over 4. And I'm going to rewrite this u to the -1 as 1 over u plus c. And let's rewrite it again. One of the things to keep in mind is if you started with x's, you want to end with x's. So we're going to go back up here and notice our original setup here said that u is 2x squared minus 7. So we're going to just chuck that in there. We're still going to have the plus c. And at this point, if we want to, we can wrap a box around it. I'm going to make one change here. I like it to make it look like a singular fraction there, plus c. And there is our solution. Hope you learned something, and thank you for listening.